Hello and welcome back to your #1 stop for everything coin collecting, history, and hidden treasures in your pocket. In today's episode, we're diving deep into the world of American coinage. Specifically, the 1987 Jefferson nickel, the classic 5-cent coin. How much is it worth today? Is it rare? And what should you look for if you find one in your change? Let's find out. The Jefferson nickel has been an important part of U.S. coinage since 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, this coin features the third U.S. President, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse, and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. The 1987 Jefferson nickel falls within the modern era of this design, but there's more to it than meets the eye. It was minted during a time of stable coin production. Not too many errors, but still worth checking your pockets. Let's take a look at how many were minted and how that affects their value. Here are the official mintage numbers for the 1987 Jefferson nickel. Philadelphia, no mint mark, **, 373,292,000 coins. Denver, D mint mark, **, 402,880,000 coins. San Francisco, S proof, **, 3,324,000 coins. With such high numbers, especially for Philadelphia and Denver, the 1987 nickel is quite common in circulation. However, the San Francisco proof coins were not made for circulation. They were made for collectors and sold in sets. Let's talk about the design for a second. A left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. Along the rim are the words "In God We Trust," Liberty, and the year 1987. Jefferson's Virginia estate, Monticello, is front and center. Above it is the word "E pluribus unum," and beneath it, you'll see 5 cents, United States of America, and the mint mark if there is one. The coin is made of a 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy and weighs exactly 5.0 grams. Now for the big question. What is the circulated value of a 1987 Jefferson nickel today? If you have a circulated 1987 nickel from Philadelphia or Denver, the value is usually 5 cents, or face value. That's because they were minted in huge numbers and are still very common in everyday change. But if your coin is in uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used and looks almost brand new, it could be worth a bit more. Around $1 to $3, depending on condition. Values can increase if your coin has something unique like a mint error, which we'll talk about next. Yes, even a common coin can become valuable if it has a rare mint error. Here are a few 1987 Jefferson nickel errors that collectors love. If the design is struck off center, it can be worth $5 to $20 or more, depending on how dramatic it is. Doubling of the date or lettering, especially on Liberty or In God We Trust, can fetch $10 to $100 plus. This is when a portion of the coin is missing due to a miscut blank. These can sell for $10 to $50. Always check your coins carefully. Sometimes even pocket change can surprise you. While the 1987 Jefferson nickel isn't particularly rare, it still holds a place in many beginner collections because it's affordable, easy to find, and a great example of late 20th century American coinage. If you're building a date set of Jefferson nickels from 1938 to present, you'll definitely need the 1987s, both from Philadelphia and Denver, and ideally the proof from San Francisco too. And that wraps up our deep dive into the 1987 Jefferson nickel. While it might only be worth a nickel in most cases, it's a reminder that every coin has a story, and sometimes a little surprise. The Jefferson nickel is one of the longest-running coin series in United States history. It was first introduced in 1938, replacing the iconic Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation since 1913. The U.S. Mint held a design competition, and the winning entry was created by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag. The new nickel honored Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence. On the obverse side, it featured a portrait of Jefferson, and on the reverse, his Virginia estate, Monticello, a neoclassical architectural masterpiece that remains a symbol of his legacy. Now, fast forward to 1987. This year was part of a period known as the modern Jefferson era, 1938 to 2003, before the coin's design was updated in 2004. What's interesting about the 1987 Jefferson nickel is that it came during a time of economic stability and high mintage rates in the U.S. There were no major coin shortages or special commemorative editions that year, but it still holds value for collectors, especially those building a complete date and mint mark set. Though it may not have any major headlines, the 1987 Jefferson nickel reflects a period in American coinage where tradition, stability, and mass production defined everyday currency. Millions were made, circulated, and used by everyday Americans, for coffee, candy, and countless moments of everyday life. Over 775 million Jefferson nickels were minted that year, a number that shows just how common this coin was, but also makes it a nostalgic piece of history for those who grew up during that era. Today, finding one in your change might seem ordinary, but if it's in good condition, or has a rare mint error, it could be worth more than just 5 cents. Into the history and value of the 1989 Jefferson nickel, the classic 5-cent coin that might be hiding in your pocket change right now. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It honors Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and one of the main authors of the Declaration of Independence. The design was created by Felix Schlag, who won a competition held by the U.S. Mint. His iconic depiction of Jefferson on the obverse side, along with his home Monticello on the reverse, has become a symbol of American coinage history. The 1989 Jefferson nickel continued this tradition, and while it might seem like just another coin, some details make it interesting for collectors, especially in circulated and uncirculated condition. Let's take a closer look at the design. Features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 1989 appear around the rim. Shows Jefferson's home, Monticello, with the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and the coin's denomination, 5 cents. There were no major design changes in 1989, but condition, mint mark, and errors can greatly impact value. In 1989, the Jefferson nickel was struck at 2 major mints for circulation: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark. Asterisk over 673 million coins produced Denver Mint, mint mark D. Over 563 million coins produced, that's over 1.2 billion nickels asterisk in total for 1989. So yes, it's a common coin, but that doesn't mean it has no value. Stay tuned for what to look for. Now here's where things get exciting. Error coins from 1989 can fetch high prices depending on the type and severity. These errors can be worth $10 to $100 plus to the right buyer. So always inspect your 1989 nickels carefully. While the 1989 Jefferson nickel is still considered common, it holds great value for new collectors, especially in building a full date and mint set. Aim for MS65 or better graded coins. Search through bankrolls or old jars for untouched nickels. Look for full steps on the Monticello building, a feature that can dramatically increase the coin's value. Oh, there you have it. The story and value of the 1989 Jefferson nickel. While it might not be rare, it's still a coin with history, and who knows, yours might be hiding a valuable error or a high-grade gem. The Jefferson nickel has a long and patriotic history that began in 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features Thomas Jefferson, the third U.S. President, founding father, and principal author of the Declaration of Independence. The coin's reverse showcases Jefferson's iconic Virginia estate, Monticello. For over 6 decades, the Jefferson nickel remained largely unchanged, with its design becoming a familiar part of American currency. Now, let's focus on 1989, a year of transition and modern production techniques at the U.S. Mint. While not considered a key date, the 1989 Jefferson nickel was minted in massive quantities at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. That year, over 1.2 billion nickels were struck for circulation. These coins were part of everyday transactions, used in vending machines, parking meters, and pocket change across America. Though not rare, 1989 nickels represent a period just before major changes began happening in U.S. coinage in the 1990s and early 2000s. The Jefferson design would eventually be modified in 2004 and 2005 during the Westward Journey series, and again in 2006, when Jefferson's portrait was redesigned to face forward for the first time. So, the 1989 Jefferson nickel marks one of the final years of the original Schlag design, making it historically significant for collectors who value classic American coinage. Even today, many of these nickels survive in circulation, but finding one in mint state or with full steps on the reverse is becoming more difficult with each passing year. Today, we're diving into the world of the 2002 Jefferson nickel, a small coin with a big story. What's it worth in circulation? Is it just 5 cents, or could it be worth more? Stick around to find out. The Jefferson nickel has been a part of American currency since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. For decades, this design stayed the same, until the Westward Journey series began in 2004, but the 2002 Jefferson nickel was one of the last traditional designs before this modern transformation, making it a symbolic piece for collectors. The 2002 Jefferson nickel was minted in two main locations: the Philadelphia Mint, marked with a P, the Denver Mint, marked with a deer, are the mintage numbers 2002 P, 361.2 million coins, 2002 D, 361.7 million coins. That's over 720 million nickels combined. So yes, they're very common, but don't lose interest yet. There are still valuable finds out there. In general, a circulated 2002 Jefferson nickel is worth its face value, 5 cents, but depending on condition, the value can increase slightly. If you find one with sharp details, full steps on Monticello, or unusual toning, it might be worth setting aside. Coin roll hunters often find these in bankrolls, and even a small premium can add up over time. Now let's talk about uncirculated and graded 2002 nickels. These are where the real value kicks in. They refer to the clear visibility of the steps on Monticello's front. This detail is hard to preserve during minting, making full-step nickels much more valuable to collectors. Even common coins like the 2002 Jefferson nickel can turn into hidden gems if they have minting errors. Here are a few errors to watch for, so don't just glance at your pocket change. Inspect those nickels carefully. The 2002 Jefferson nickel might seem ordinary, but it's part of a transitional period in U.S. coinage history. While most are still only worth face value, condition, rarity, and error varieties can bump up their price. Next time you get change from a store, check for that 2002 nickel. Who knows, it might just be a small treasure in your hand. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a coin update. Comment below if you found any 2002 nickels or coin errors. We'd love to hear your story. Thanks for watching, and keep collecting.